Hello, everyone. My name is Cyrus Hojadi. I'm about to talk about a subject that has been getting a lot of traction in the last few years and may be bringing some points that are pretty eye opening. These days, I'm sure you guys have scrolled through all over social media, even in the legacy media, talk about how dating is not what it used to be. A lot of things have been going downhill. That there's fewer people dating, as a matter of fact. Things are such a mess. The rate of marriages, approaches, births, relationships, and even intercourse has come down significantly over the last few years and even decades. And especially, prospects have come down a lot, especially for younger folks. As a result, you might have been exposed to terms like MGTOW, or a lot of communities are out there in the manosphere, believe it or not. You've heard of a lot of figures like Andrew Tate, podcasters such as Fresh and Fit, whatever, and many different platforms all across YouTube, especially. You've also heard a term of passport bros, where either men especially are either giving up or they're going to overseas to try new dating experiences. As a result, people are pretty frustrated and they resort to tactics to blame others to figure out what's going on. Some are blaming men, women, they blame the apps, mass media, academia, nightlife, a lot of different aspects that you can think of. However, the one large ingredient that nobody seems to be talking about, one aspect that really got me in because, well, obviously it's a sector that pretty much impacts every aspect of society, is urban planning. You see, urban planning is something that deals with land use, transportation, architecture, that it impacts human life in many different aspects as possible. Think about it. And obviously, we know what's been going on in urban planning, especially in our modern society in the last 90 years. Because we've built this system of car dependent planning, also known as sprawl, particularly found in the suburbs, a system of strip malls, cul de sacs, essentially gated areas, office parks, seas of dominant parking lots, garages eating up the front in residential structures, unwalkable streets dominated by stroads, whether you look at lack of third places, it is no wonder why our grandparents and previous generations had their dating experiences considerably different. This is one thing that hardly anybody seems to be talking about. And it's no coincidence that because these places are not very human scale and are so car dependent, people just somehow resort to apps and nightlife in order to meet somebody new. As a result, we see a lot of different concerns: long commutes, congestion, we're more isolated, and not to mention, as a result, well, there's a lot of places where we may resort to, like shopping malls, that are not as effective as traditional mainstream walkable downtowns, as a matter of fact. By contrast, you will find that things are much different in the older cities, whether it's in the rural, traditional, old fashioned small towns, or it could be the inner cities. I'm sure a lot of television shows and movies that are in inner urban cosmopolitan areas can give you a different story of not just the social life, but also in dating. They're more walkable, they're more human scale. You see, when you think about it, mixed use places where people can go and hang out, steps from their front porch to the coffee shop, corner store, parks, whether it is a wide range of activities, whether you have the office professional goes down the building and maybe strikes up a conversation with the clerk, get to know them over time, whether they can meet each other as neighbors while they're walking and doing errands, cycling, taking mass transit, maybe striking up a conversation. All of these factors can have a huge significant impact. And let's not forget a lot of third places, such as plazas, where there's a lot of cultural festivals that are possibly going on. There's a lot of things you've got to really consider that. Let me give you my example. I'm right now in a residential building across from 3 major casinos. About 2 months ago, I took a walk to the Palms pool nearby, and I was able to strike up a conversation with a woman, and there was music during the pool. Things started working pretty well. Just minutes after, I asked her to walk to the coffee section in the casino. We hung out for 2 hours, and even after 2 months, we're still keeping in touch. You see, the proximity of that casino and the accessibility, the convenience, had an impact, obviously, on dating. And it's not just trying to meet women. In walkable, more human-friendly environments, when things are often closer together, there's a wide range of activities that people can do. Shopping, bowling, karaoke, movies, you name it. Because you're not as car dependent, you don't need cars necessarily to meet up or judge one another, and things can go more smoothly and more obviously organic. It's pretty much easier to even meet up. This leads me to my other point, passport bros. We often hear that how men especially will go to Asia, Europe, Latin America, and they'll experience a much different dating outcome. Sure, it's true. I've been to the Philippines and the women are considerably different. But what's not talked about is a lot of those places, those areas are more walkable. They're more pedestrian friendly, as a matter of fact. Let me tell you something. When you get out of your hotel room, there's a lot of places to do. Shopping, bars, whether it is third places, busy pedestrian streets, a lot of people that you can strike up a conversation, get to know, get their contact info, meet up at the spot. It's not easy to do that in an environment that is dominated by cars. It is no wonder why that even men have even experienced different dating outcomes in places like France and Germany, even though these are developed Western countries. Now, it's not just dating. It can also have an impact in maintaining a relationship in terms of not only things to do, but dealing with the costs. And of course, it has an impact on raising the family. Now, it's not just me pointing this out, but if you look at the YouTube channel, Not Just Bikes, he'll talk about how he would not want to raise his family in suburbia in North America, especially in areas that were built after and planned from the 1930s. When it comes to raising a family, children, when they're in these modern planned areas, have less to do. There's not the kind of places where you want to walk and cycle everywhere you need to go to meet other neighbors, play with other children, go to the park, go to the school, go to the corner store. Not to mention, there's also fewer places where the family can conveniently go out and have a good time. Worst of all, this modern urban planning system also has an increase in cost. It is no coincidence with the cost of automobiles or housing, thanks to difficulty in building starter homes. Both spouses are more likely to work. They're less likely to have lots of children or have children at all, as a matter of fact. In addition, the rising costs of housing in terms of car infrastructure, as well as taxes, may make it less convenient and more challenging in terms of financially to raise a family, because all those taxes have to come from somewhere, believe it or not. So, next time when somebody says modern dating sucks and they just solely blame the common things you oftenly hear, dig a little deeper, have an open mind, and realize that it's more than just what you commonly hear. The hardcore issue, in fact, in reality, is the urban planning. You see, it's not just about getting from A to B more efficiently. It's about how we interact and how we go with our daily lives as human beings. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed my content. If you like what I have to talk about, and my points of view. If this was very eye-opening, please share this video to your friends and family. Great pleasure.